Hey, it's Cornelia, and you are listening to the I Have No Clue the podcast, which is all about business and personal growth. And you chose to make the time to listen to this podcast to learn something new, improve your life and your business. And I think it's awesome. And I'm honored that you are here. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the I Have No Clue podcast family. And let's dive in because today is all about how I hired my first employee and of course, what I did to do so. I took 8 steps to start from what am I going to hire somebody for to actually hiring them and onboarding them and having someone do the work for me. And I will walk you through all those 8 steps. And it all started with this actually, struggling with the time. I have a lot of client work at the moment, which is really nice because that means there's a lot of cash flow in my business right now. However, time to work on the online part of my business and being there for you, recording podcasts, creating social media content, but most of all, making sure that the online course that I recorded in May is actually edited so I can actually go full out because I haven't edited anything more than the first module at this point. And I thought, what am I going to do next? How am I going to deal with this? And maybe it's not time for you. Maybe you want to hire someone, but you have a fear of losing control over certain tasks of areas of your business. Because if you hire somebody, obviously you're not going to do the work anymore. And micromanaging is not going to save you any time. How do you make sure that it is going as you want it? And how do you become a good leader? And so can you actually hire somebody that you can trust? Maybe for you, it's not the fear of losing control. It's not the trust about finding someone trustworthy. Maybe for you, it's budget constraints. Maybe you don't have enough money to hire someone because you don't have the business profits there yet, because they aren't consistent. That's what this podcast episode is about. Because either way, if you're struggling with time or the fear of losing control, or you want to hire somebody, but you don't have the budget really, this episode is for you. It really is for you. Let me take you back to the moment that I decided I had to hire somebody. I was scrolling on Instagram and it's been a while. I think at the start of this year, I already said I want to hire somebody before the end of the year. I'm going to hire a VA or I'm going to hire somebody to do my advertising. With the cash flow I'm having right now, I really felt, okay, this is the moment that I'm capable of hiring somebody. I was looking at stories. Of course, I came across an advertisement of somebody who does advertising for people like you and me. And I thought, well, this might be it. Let's go for it. So I clicked on her profile, didn't even download the free workbook that she had. And said, I want to have a call because I might want to have you do my advertising for me. She replied very quickly. She said, we can call this afternoon or tomorrow. And we called, I think, the same afternoon. I picked up the phone. I was in my office looking at my flowers and my computer screen. We had this call where she explained to me how it worked, what they did, and what I could expect in terms of work done for me, which was like basically everything in advertisement. The only thing I had to do was deliver videos and photos, I think. And of course, we would do strategy together. She sent me like the amount of what it was going to cost the same day on an email with everything that you're supposed to send to somebody if they have to make a decision to work with you, from what they were going to do for me, what I could expect, what the costs were as well. I thought, well, that's a lot of money. And not because I don't think it was worth it, but I thought, well, that might be a little bit over the budget that I'm having in my mind. So I was in doubt because she couldn't give me a guarantee on my return on investment, which is, if you have read the $100 million offer by Alex Hormozi, that guarantees are something that can pull people over to actually buy because they feel like either they get their money back or whatsoever. And in this case, I thought I want to have a guarantee on a return on investment. If I spent, for instance, 1,000 euros with you to do my advertising, and then on top of that, I'll spend another 1,000 euros a month to actually advertise, I want to make sure that I actually earn at least 2,000 euros with it. So the return on investment has to be like at least equal for me to dive in and actually take the chance on doing this. And she couldn't give me the guarantee, and I thought, that's gonna be tough. After dinner, my boyfriend and me were on the couch. We both have a business. He does something in artificial intelligence with airplanes and software and something like that. He has like a business without a personal brand. And in my case, my business is my personal brand. So that's the big difference between our companies. We were discussing how I had this conversation about having someone to do my advertising for me. And also the fear that I thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to earn it back, because if I still have to do the last conversion, that might be a little bit scary. And then he asked me one question. And this one simple question helped me to change my mind about who to hire and what to hire for. And I thought, you're right. I have to think about this in a different way. I still need someone to help me because I don't have time for certain tasks in my business that need to be done. But it might also be the struggle of the quality of your own work. Because, for instance, video editing. I always do my own video editing, like literally up until this point, I did every single thing myself, from taxes to social media to creating courses to doing the client work, everything. I did it, replying to emails. It's all me. But the time is a little bit running out, and I started this business to be free as well. Your business is becoming so successful that you don't have the time anymore to feel like that free feeling of, hey, this is the middle of the afternoon and I'm just gonna go shopping or go to my horse or do whatever the hell I want, instead of having this huge to-do list that has to be done. It could also be the quality of your own work, because if you look through your own eyes and look at the work that you're doing, like, I know that my video editing, it's adequate. It's absolutely good enough to create reels. But if I look at my online courses, I'm not really happy with my own editing. It's okay. It might be just as good as a couple of other courses that I followed online. But honestly, it's a 6. And in my course about productivity, I'm always saying like 80% is good enough. If it's a 6, it's okay. But I also want to deliver quality work. So I had to improve my video editing skills and spend more time on it. The third thing that is actually very important is that you also have to have the money to do it. Because if you're not making any money yet, you either have to have some sort of cash buffer to do, or you gotta learn it yourself. Those are the choices that you have. But doing everything yourself is only going to take you so far. You can have a business that is your own personal brand, which is that's a lot of online entrepreneurs. Your online visibility, like how you show up online, is usually your personal brand. It's usually in your own name. And you have a business that you do a lot of work under your personal brand. And you don't have a separate business for like software or selling cakes or whatsoever. Those businesses need their own brand. And having a personal brand business actually means that you're creating a very high paying job. And you probably created this business around tasks, your A game, and then you figured out, okay, but I have to do social media, I have to do taxes, I have to build my own website, I have to edit stuff. And you might encounter a lot of tasks that are not your A game. And figuring out what tasks are your A game and which tasks aren't is actually an exercise that I do with all the students that enter my productivity course. But still, like the tasks that aren't your A game, you might want to hire somebody for that, so your business is actually improving and your clients are much happier. That's what it is all about. If you have a business that you can actually sell, like baking cakes or having software, a business that has its own brand, there's a separate brand that exists besides you as the owner, it means you simply cannot do everything yourself if you eventually want to sell it. Because then you have to have teams ready that actually do the work and that the business can actually run without you. So hiring somebody is, at some point, it's going to be essential for your business growth. Speaking of business growth, it's not just for business growth. It's also next step in being an entrepreneur. If you hire somebody, then your entrepreneurship is going to go next level. Because you need to figure out what is the job you're going to hire somebody for. You have to become a manager. That might feel very different. You have to give up some sort of control. You have to disappoint people at some point. You have to start giving feedback. You have to make sure that they actually do their work right and that you have good communication going. And that's a whole new level unlocked of entrepreneurship. If you do that, before you actually truly absolutely need to hire somebody, that'll give you the space to grow as a leader and to figure out how to do all of this, how to onboard people, how to train them, how to hire them, how to explain all the tasks that they need to do, everything. Because that gives you the space to actually do it. Because if you're too busy and you have to spend the time to onboard somebody, to give feedback, that is a whole new different thing that you have to spend time on. So lucky me, I decided to hire somebody during the summer holidays. And that's actually a couple of weeks ago, before my work exploded the last 2 weeks. So that was really nice. I had really a week or two to make sure that everything was going to run smoothly, that she knew what I expected and stuff. I haven't even mentioned what I hired somebody for. Get to that in a second with all the questions and steps that I took. But before we get there, maybe some fellow entrepreneur who is struggling with this, make sure you actually share it, send it to someone who can actually benefit from all the information that I am about to give you on hiring your first employee. You deserve business growth. They deserve business growth. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get back to the question my boyfriend asked me. We're sitting on the couch and he is asking me this one question. It's actually step one of figuring out what to hire somebody for. And he asked me, what is the thing that is most limiting right now for your business growth? Is it the fact that you need to start advertising? Or is it because what you're going to advertise for, is it actually finished yet? No, it is not. And I realized I was putting off the editing on this online course to finish it. Actually, I was about halfway done. And I might need to hire somebody to do that for me because my editing skills are mediocre, adequate, but definitely not better than that. And I cannot advertise this course if it's not finished, especially not in paid ads. Then I had to hurry up and scramble and make sure that the videos are edited well and put up and the workbooks are done and everything is completely finished. This is definitely not a task that's my A-game, video editing, at all. So that's the first thing. Hire someone for the tasks that are not your A-game. If it's your A-game, definitely don't hire somebody for that because those are the tasks those are for you. You need to do those. The second thing is, if every single business roughly looks the same with the roles that they have, there is the CEO role, you have a marketing and sales director, you have somebody on the finances part. Those three you always have. And underneath that, you have people who do the smaller tasks of that. And then you have also people for the product that you do. How do you call that? That is the COO. So you have a sales and marketing director. you have a finances person, and you have somebody who is managing people that are making your product, whatever that product is. And if you are a solo entrepreneur, you are it. You're doing everything. But having an overview of what kind of roles are there in your business, what kind of tasks belong to each pillar, that'll give you a clear overview of where you can actually hire people for. And to me, it was very clear, okay, I make online courses, I'm a trainer, but I also need editors. I need editors in my life, in my business. This was the moment I decided I might hire a video editor. Who you want to hire, it might even be the first step. Now I'm talking about this because finances are a major role in who you can hire and what kind of roles you can hire. Because a sales and marketing director is way more expensive than a video editor. So I could hire somebody for my sales and marketing, but I could maybe hire 10 video editors for that. What is your budget? What kind of money are you willing to spend on having these tasks done? That is so important to determine the budget that you have, to also determine what is your return on investment. How much are you going to earn when you're doing this? And for me, it's very simple. If this video course is actually finished, I can actually start really selling it and using ads to advertise it as well. So the return on investment will be huge. They have a value of about 100 to 150 euros an hour. And all the time that I would spend video editing, I could have someone do 8 to 10 hours for me for the same amount of money that I would earn if I would actually work for one of my clients at this very moment or do coaching or something like that. So that's the second step, which is actually intertwined with the first one, because you can figure out, okay, I'm going to hire somebody for, let's say, the sales and marketing, but it's too expensive. Then you could actually better hire somebody for something else that fits your budget, that fits what you can actually afford to pay right now. Then the third step is deciding if it's going to be an employee or freelancer, because you have a choice. And I chose to work with a freelancer. Very simple, because I don't have the budget to hire somebody for a full year. At this very moment, I might have after I get the return on this investment. But as of now, I surely don't. I chose to work with a freelancer because it's less risky. If this isn't working out, if we are not working together as well as I think we are right now, after the first course that she's editing, I will find another video editor. I will try something else to switch that out, or actually quit halfway the task that you're like, this is not going to work out, I'm going to hire somebody else. That is much easier with a freelancer than with an employee. But in general, employees are cheaper. However, it depends on the situation that you're in. Do you have an English-speaking business? Go you, because it's super easy to go online and find somebody. I talked with a lot of people during this hiring process, and I actually ended up with someone from Romania, which is really nice because we only have 1 hour of time difference. But it is much cheaper to do that. And then it's also easy to do it in a freelance way. Employees are generally cheaper if you have to hire in your own country. That being said, step number 4, you gotta find somebody, right? And you could put up a job description on LinkedIn or stuff like that. But if you are going for the freelancer, you have a lot of platforms around, like Upwork, like freelancer.ca, and there are a lot of them actually. And I looked around and I checked, okay, hey, how is this platform looking? What do I want? Payment-wise as well, how much am I paying? How much is the freelancer paying to use this platform? And I decided to go with Upwork. And it was very easy. They were like, do you want to put up a job description here? Describe what you want. And I thought, yeah, I can do that. It's just marketing. The person you want to hire in the main position, like they are the main character of the story because they're doing the work eventually. I wrote down what I wanted to be done because I already knew that, because I know how I edit my videos. I know how I wanted it to look like, and I knew how much raw video material I have as well. It's fairly easy. So you're gonna write down what it is that you want to be done exactly. And then it really depends on the role that you want to hire. Like for me, a video editor, they obviously need to know, if I'm gonna hire somebody for one course, how much raw video material are we talking about? And I put in there that I wanted a sample. And I did that because video editing is a skill. We can talk for hours about video editing, but I still wouldn't know how well you can actually edit it. I am all for showing and then deciding who I'm gonna pick. And I put that up in the job description as well. I expected a sample of one video of my course edited as part of the interviewing process. But if it's not a video editor, if it is a virtual assistant who is going to do some work for you in making a social media calendar, let them prepare a week of social media calendar for you and see if that's working out for you. What can you ask to actually see if it's going to work for you? And it might just be like a showcase of what they did before for other people. If it's very specific for your business, I would definitely go with a small sample of the total job and see if that is anything to your liking. Because if it isn't, then it's easier. Then you're not going to hire that person. After I put up the job interview, I was scared. Thought maybe no one is going to reply. Even if that would happen, I could just do it again. Either way, pick a new platform or do the same thing on the same platform, but then a different job description. But that didn't happen, luckily. I had 10 replies within 2 days or something like that. So I set up a couple of interviews. I chose to do at least 3, and it became 4 people that I talked to. Definitely don't talk to one person, because one person is no person. You don't have anything to compare it with. It's actually what I did wrong with the ads agency. I talked to one agency. If I would hire somebody to do my advertising, I will definitely make sure that I talk to 3 or more agencies to make sure that I can actually compare what they're offering and what would work best for me. The first interview was with someone from Ukraine, and it was on a day where they had some issues with electricity. The interview was very weird. We had a nice talk, then we didn't have connection anymore. Then we had a nice talk, then we didn't have connection anymore. And I realized during that interview that I forgot some stuff in my requirements of a new employee or freelancer, because they had to speak English fluently. And her English was okay. It was not fluent. So that's hard when you have to edit sound. This is going to be interesting, but I'm going to ask her to do a sample anyway. We had some issues with she not wanting to do that before I actually made up a contract on Upwork for her. And I said, I'm going to do that at the end, because then I know how much. Basically, I really struggled with this first interview and making clear how I wanted it to happen, because I decided that I actually was going to pay people for, because this is what happens when you step into a leadership role. And I didn't have to do this. I'll be honest, I felt a little bit guilty about the hourly rate that everybody put up, because it was so much lower than I'm paying myself. And I struggled a little bit with that, so I decided to pay them to at least 1 hour for compensation of doing the sample. And she didn't want to do that before I put up a contract. That was fine. It's why I added someone else to the series of people that I was going to interview, because that's how it works. You're trying, you're figuring out, especially during your first hiring process. Not everything is clear, and that's okay. I thought, if I make up a contract with an hourly rate, I just want to make up a project for people who are like 1 hour, and then it's just 1 hour billing done. and make up the right contract for the person who is going to edit the whole video at once. So I planned on doing this afterwards and not beforehand. And I still think, I don't know if I would do that again, paying people to put up a sample, especially for the fact that this is definitely 80 to 100 hours of work that they're going to do right now to edit this course. Because if you don't edit like me, you also spend more time on it, because that'll make sure that the quality of the editing is much better. So it takes a lot of time to do that. It's a really big project, so I don't think I would have had to pay for the sample. It was just a really nice gesture of me that came from a place of guilt, I think. And yeah, that was the first moment that I thought, okay, this is harder than I thought. And that's actually okay. If it's harder than you think, if you're hiring this, because it's a process of growth, I immediately realized I had to work on the guilt that I earned more money than I pay someone to do work for me, which is actually a good thing for running a business, because I am having the risk of no money coming in and they don't. So this was interesting. It was a very interesting experience to do the interview and realize that I felt guilty about this. So I definitely decided on the spot to pay for that. And then I did a second interview with somebody who turned out to be an agency. And I thought, I don't want an agency. I actually want to hire a team of editors in the end. So I want to work with one freelancer who is prepared to become part of a team later on from editors. So there's always an editor available when I need one. No agency for me. So that was interesting. And then the third and the fourth one, they were actually people that were really nice that I could hire almost on the spot, but still had make them make an example, a sample video for me. And they both did very well. And then the question is, how do you decide? How do you actually pick someone? Step number 7. How do you pick someone from all the interviews? I had to disappoint people. Shoot, I don't want to disappoint people. You probably don't want to disappoint people. I think the biggest mistake you can make is hire someone out of pity or hire someone out of the fact that you feel guilty. You have to put your business first. You have to make sure that your business is going to do well. So things like they will learn, they will improve themselves along the way. They can even be a good candidate, but I had 2 factors that I took into consideration because of the 2 people that I could hire. One was more expensive than the other one, time-wise and hourly-wise. So that actually was part of the decision. And the other part of the decision was, okay, I can edit myself. The person that I'm going to hire definitely has to be much better at editing videos than I am. They have to be better at keeping attention on the video. They have to be better at making sure nice stuff pops up to have people staying engaged throughout a course lesson. They have to be able to edit the colors in the video. They have to be able to do so many things that I cannot or have to learn or whatsoever. So then you got to choose. And then you have to tell everyone else that you're not going with them. And I thought that was the hardest part. I really, truly thought it was the hardest part of hiring somebody. Telling people that they were not a good fit, or telling somebody that they actually were a good fit, but I didn't pick them because someone else was better. And that I actually asked this person, can I keep you as a favorite and add you to my team later on? But you'll never know what's going to happen. It also felt like I meant that. Generally, I meant that. But I also know that might not be the reality. So it felt like if you're applying for a job or a client and they're like, yeah, we keep you as... We'll keep your curriculum vitae and we might reach out to you later. They'll never reach out. I felt a little bit like, I am gonna say this, but we all know that might not be true because it's never true, even though it... So that was tough. That was really tough. She really reacted nicely, by the way, but it's doing it anyway in a way that matches you and how you want to be a leader. And even though you're just figuring out, because this is the first step, that's okay. I really had to say to me, it's okay that you're not doing this perfectly right now. It's okay that you do it in this way, even if people sometimes don't like it, even if people don't agree with you. This is how you run your business. This is how you want to run your business. So you're going to do it this way. And if you don't like it, next time you're going to do better. That's what was going through my head all the time. Then we're going to step number 8. The last one is onboarding. And for this, you have to make sure that what you want, that you exactly know what you want. So you're going back to the job description because you've already written it down. What do you want? What are your criteria for good work? What are your criteria of communications? Do you want them to have you send an email at the end of the day with what they did? And maybe some recommendations even. Or do you want them to reach out to you via WhatsApp? Like, you have to know how you want to work with people in your business. Like for me, when I hired this video editor, I said, don't expect to hear anything from me before 10 o'clock. You can message me, but I won't reply. Probably not before lunchtime either. But I will do my best to get back at you. You will figure out why, because those are my focus hours. And I don't want anyone else to interrupt me while I'm doing that. So you have to know how to work with them and what you want the quality of their work to be. And to be honest, we discussed all that and I gave her access to everything that she needed access to. Not a single folder more, by the way, to make sure that there's less risk of losing stuff along the way. Even that can just be a mistake, right? That's how I protected my business intel at the moment. You have to make sure that they can have all access to all the stuff that you need, how to communicate to you, and what your expectations are. And that's what I wanted to say. She really surprised me. I thought this is much better than I could have done it. So the first time I was watching a video that she edited to comment on it and make sure that it was exactly to my liking, I was listening to it with a big smile, looking at it with a big smile. I thought, this is awesome. I did the right thing. This is going to work out. I'm really happy I did this. But if it's not a good fit, you could actually go and do some feedback and make sure that you tell them that it's not up to the point that you want it to be. And honestly, if it's not like working at all, give it like a couple of days. See if you can improve with communications, because you have to learn, they have to learn. But if it's not working out, then make sure you quit on time, because you can spend your money once. And if you need the tasks done, you can better hire somebody else. Another thing that might happen is with the whole hiring process that I didn't mention before is, what if you want something done, but you don't have the budget to hire people full time? Like, I just hired somebody to edit this one course, and I know it's going to take her like ballpark 80 to 100 hours. That is not a year work. That is just a couple of weeks of work. And that is okay. I know that if this is working out, I'm going to ask her like, okay, I'm going to make a new course for at the end of the year about goals and achieving business goals and making sure that your next year is going to be the best year yet. Really. And if it's working out, I'm going to ask her to edit that as well. But that's a new set project. So you can hire somebody for just a very small part of your business, for just some tasks that you want to do. I'm going to compare this with owning a home. I don't know why, but hey, I'm like not having a painter on that I pay monthly to paint my house. If it needs to be painted, I'm like calling somebody to do that for me. And if they did a great job, then the next time I need somebody to paint stuff, I will call them again. Works exactly the same in your business. You can do it like that. especially for first time hired, that might be something that I would recommend actually, because you're figuring out how to become a leader, how to become confident, how to do the communications, how to change your mindset a little bit, how to be okay with giving feedback, disappointing people as well. That's really my thing. Disappointing people. I don't like disappointing people. That's what it is. That is how you can hire somebody for the very, very first time. And there's a learning curve to it. And you have to figure out your own management style. And if you are figuring that out, read books. I always say read a lot of books or listen to people like Leila Hormozzi with Build, I think her podcast is called. I will link that in the show notes. And people who talk a lot about managing people, who are like experienced in that. If you thought this was interesting, it was a good story, or funny, or whatsoever, and you have someone in mind that you think, hey, they might benefit from this because they have no clue on how to hire somebody for the first time, what to expect, and how to actually do it, make sure you send this podcast episode to help them out, and also to help me out so I can reach more people and help more people to build the business that they want. Thank you so much for listening until the end. I love you, and I believe in you, and I believe in your inner power to build your business and make this world a better place together. Talk to you next time.